Okay, now I'm going to do the last two problems, 11 and 12, on the sample practice exam. Number 11, you're given that you're going to use a chi-squared test to test the claim. So what we're going to do for this one, I don't think I ever went over the homework with you on the section where we would use this, but you're going to enter the data as a matrix. You do a matrix. So how you do that is hit the second, and then the x to the minus 1 key. It's just below the math. It's on the far left-hand column. Second, x to the negative 1. Then you should get some matrices. Then go over to Edit and hit Enter. And it should pop up. That you should have been highlighted on number 1. It takes you to number 1. If it isn't already, say, 2 by 2, then you're prompted to change those numbers. It probably already says 2 by 2, but if it doesn't, go ahead and just type over those numbers. You should be able to just do that. Type over and make it a 2 by 2. Then you just use the down arrow, and just really all the arrows. You're going to use the arrows to navigate through the matrix. And you're going to enter the values 11, 73 in the first column, 7 and 91 in the second. Okay, then you type all those in. You don't really have to hit enter or do anything after that. You get all the data in. Then you're going to go to Stat, Tests. Remember how to do Stat. Straight from the matrix, you can go to Stat, Tests, and then go to the chi-squared test, which is option C. And then you hit enter. And then if you use the A matrix, if it doesn't pop up on observed, observed is the matrix you just entered. If it's correct, you don't need to do anything. If for some reason it's not correct, then if your cursor's flashing right where next to observed, whatever letter this may say here, say it says A, if it's flashing here, go ahead and hit second, x to the negative 1, highlight, use the up and down arrow till you get to the matrix that you entered your data in below. Hit enter, and then it should bring you back and type in that matrix in the observed value. But again, if it's already correct, leave it alone. If it's not correct, do second x1, find the matrix you used, and hit enter. And that's all you're going to do in this field. You'll see an expected, and that matrix will automatically be calculated for you. So don't do anything with that. It'll calculate it for you. Tab down, hit calculate. Tab down, highlight calculate, hit enter. And then you'll get a chi-square and a p-value. I got a chi-square of 1.798. I got a p-value of 0.1799. And I compared that my p is my p is greater than alpha. Now in this case I was supposed to do a test, I forgot, the 8-step process. So number 1, I'll just say these rather than write them. Number 1 is basically my claim is that the treatment, which would be whether it's drug or placebo, is independent of the reaction, whether or not headaches were experienced. Number 2 is that the treatment and reaction are dependent on each other. So then for step 3, your HO, again, is that they're independent of each other, those two variables. Your H1, the alternate claim, again, is that they're dependent. Step 4, my alpha is 0.05. Okay, I'm using the chi-squared test statistic for the chi-squared test. Number 6, I've got my p-value and my chi-squared test statistic. And I'm only going to do the p-value test. That's all. I only need to do one test, and from there I get that P is greater than alpha, which implies I fail to reject the null. So I fail to reject the null. The null is that they are independent of each other. So I'm failing to reject that. So there's a chance they are independent of each other. So then when I go to step 8 and I write my wording, I fail to reject, and in a sense I want to use, my wording is the same as my null. So I'm going to use wording number 4 for this. I'm going to say there's not sufficient evidence to warrant a rejection of the claim that the variables are independent, however you want to write that. So what that means for number 9, stated in my own terms, is really that, let's see, where did I put the drug does not appear to help alleviate headaches any better than no treatment. So it really seems like the drug really has no effect on whether there's headache or no headache. It seems that the two variables, the headaches and the drug or placebo, are independent of each other. So I think I got that wording a little screwy there, but basically state your conclusion in your own words. What do you summarize from the data, from the results of your hypothesis test there. So number 12, test the claim that the samples come from populations with the same mean. This is section 12.1. So this will be a ANOVA test. So this is that the claim is that mu1 equals mu2 equals mu3. That is our claim. The opposite would be to say that the means are not all equal. At least one of these means does not equal the others. Step 3, our null hypothesis is the same as our claim. And then H1 is the same as statement 2, that the means are not all equal. At least one's different from the other. 4, we're given alpha 0.01. 5, it's the F test statistic. This is the ANOVA test. Again, it's the analysis of variance is what that stands for. 6 is when we do the ANOVA test, we enter exercise A. We're going to make L1, L2, L3. This is the A, B, C. And they each have 5 values. So the first list starts with 2.5, L2 starts with 5.8, L3 starts with 4.3. I enter 3 lists, then I will do my tests, and when you do your stat tests and you tab over to tests, again remember if you hit the up arrow, it'll take you to ANOVA, which is at the bottom of the list of tests. You'll be prompted with ANOVA, open parentheses, then you're going to put L1, L2, L3, close parentheses, commas in between. Remember, to get L1, you hit second one, and then comma L2, comma L3, close parentheses. Then after you calculate this test, you're given you will calculate an F test statistic. I got 1.491. And I got a p-value of 0.26399. So then I just did the p-value test here. I said p is greater than alpha, which means I fail to reject. So then step 8, I use the wording, think of it as number 4 wording. There is not sufficient evidence to warrant rejection of the claim up here, that the samples come from populations with the same mean. And then what step 9 says is stated in your own words. And really this had to do with weight losses for people on 3 different exercise programs. So if I'm saying There isn't evidence to reject my claim, so it's possible that the three means are equal. So basically that there's not much of a difference between the true mean weight loss provided by the three exercise programs. So actually that was a question asked up at the top. At the 1% significance level, does it appear that a difference exists in the true mean weight loss produced by the three exercise programs? And the answer is no. So you could also say it appears that one of these programs is not any better than the other in terms of losing a greater amount of weight. Okay, and that is it for the sample exam.